Welcome to the Family Geekery Podcast, a podcast for geeks from a family of geeks. We talk about comics, video games, and anything else geeky. I'm Amber.
I'm Danny.
And I'm Chris.
And this week is our fourth installment of FamilySpookery. And we're talking about Midsommar from 2019.
Midsommar. Let the festivities begin. That was the tagline.
But first...
Geeky week.
Who wants to go first?
Well, I'll go first because I'll probably forget something and then I'll have to interrupt you guys later.
Nice.
So let me
Can't let that happen.
Yeah, let me get some stuff out and then I'll amber you guys up later.
Cool.
All right, so first off, I'm reading a book and it's fascinating. And it's called Once Upon Atari. Oh, It's got a subtitle. How I Made History by Killing an Industry.
Whoa.
Oh.
And it's by Howard Scott Warshaw. So he was an Atari employee. He made probably one of the most famous games ever, which is called Yard's Revenge. Followed that up with a game called Raiders of the Lost Ark, working for the man.
Okay.
And the man liked it so much, he said, "Hey, why don't you?"
Spielberg is the man.
Yeah, liked it so much, he's like, "Why don't you make a game for E.T.?"
Oh.
So
yeah, we all know how that went.
E.T. is known as having killed the industry of video games before it was relaunched by Nintendo in the 80s. But it's a fascinating book because this guy tells his side of the story. He's not defending the fact that the game wasn't as good as it should have been. But he's telling the full story about how long he had and how long it should have taken and how long they gave him. It was definitely rushed to get onto the shelves for Christmas, and he got it done against all odds, but it could have been better. But he tells a story about the whole industry and how Atari itself was kind of going downhill by this point because a lot of different factors. And he's a really smart dude. He holds several degrees in economics, computer engineering. He's a psychotherapist now. So
Wow.
Is that why you asked me what a psychotherapist is?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's fascinating. When he went to college, he all smart people like this, they think a little bit differently. When he got to college, he didn't say, "Okay, my goal is to graduate with this degree." He said he decided, "I'm going to take 4 years, and that's going to be my college experience. And in that 4 years, I'm going to do whatever I can, and then I'm just going to stop." So in the first 3 years, he got a double major in economics and mathematics, I think, and then a minor in something else. And then the fourth year, they gave him a scholarship to come back for his fourth year since he already had it set in his mind, "I'm going to spend 4 years doing this." So in his fourth year, he completed a master's in computer engineering.
Wow.
Having not taken any computer classes before that.
Wow.
Overachiever.
So he did that, got a job at Hewlett Packard, which was probably one of the biggest, hiring companies for that kind of degree in that time frame, which got him to California. And then from there, he found out how boring it was working for HP, and he went to started making video games.
What school did he go to?
Tulane in New Orleans.
I'd like to see him last a day at UVA.
But yeah, fascinating story, fascinating dude. I'm almost done with it, and he's kind of intermixing the overall story is, of course, the big rumor about they being Atari, dumping millions of cartridges of ET in a landfill in New Mexico.
Oh.
And that was kind of a like a long-standing myth. And he was very outspoken about, "Hey, I worked for Atari. I think I would have known if they would have done this. I never saw them do anything like that. And why would they spend money dumping something when they could have just given the stuff out for free or thrown it away or whatever?" But there was another documentary that was done by, I think Ernest Cline, who made Ready Player One,
No.
was part of the documentary that was the overall arching story of this book, and it's them all in the landfill the day that
Looking
they're
for it?
unearthing this stuff. Yeah.
Oh. Was it there?
Oh, spoiler.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a landfill in, I never pronounce this city name right, but it's Alamogordo. Is that right? Alamogordo, New
I
Mexico.
have no idea. Never been.
Sure.
And I think they were allowed to do this documentary and use the resources of the city to, big machinery and stuff to unearth this crap. With the premise that anything that was found belonged to the city.
Oh.
And then the city, when they found these, basically pallets and pallets and pallets of Atari games, started selling them on eBay.
Oh,
Wow.
So hopefully they recovered their money that way.
That's
But
crazy.
I remember when this happened, I jumped on eBay to look, and sure enough, they'd have like a pristine copy being sold. And then they'd have like just a shrink wrapped brick of like 100 games that were kind of like crushed or whatever.
Yeah, that'd be a really cool collector's item.
Yeah.
When
Yep.
did that happen?
I think it was like 2009, 2012, somewhere in that time period.
Okay.
10 or so years ago. But yeah, fascinating book, fascinating dude. I look forward to finishing it. And I've watched the documentary before, but after I finish the book, I'm going to go back and watch that documentary again.
Let's get this guy on the podcast.
Yeah,
He can be our next guest.
that'd be pretty cool.
Hit us up if you know.
Howard Scott Warshaw.
Yeah, or if you have links. If you have connections to him, let us know.
Let us know. Other than that, still playing Satisfactory. I'm happy to announce that I've got oil now.
nice.
Oil technology, so
That's funny.
I can plunder the planet of fossil fuels, but yeah, it's opening up new technologies for me. So that's being fun. And
Have you built a 3D Minecraft pixel art Steve yet?
no, too busy doing the darn tasks that they're telling me to do. Build this, make that, ship this. But yeah, that's it's a fascinating game. Like I said, every time I get an announcement or a link from Reddit and I see somebody else's factory, I'm like, oh God, I'm in for thousands of hours of this game to get to where these people are at. But yeah, it's worth it if you like that kind of stuff. It's a great game.
Nice.
Let's see. Oh, we talked about Tomb Raider.
Yes.
Last week watching Tomb Raider. Did you only watch the first episode?
Yes.
So I'm going to challenge you to watch the second episode.
Is it better?
And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
The second episode of Tomb Raider is essentially an episode of Avatar, the Airbender Avatar person.
Is it funny?
I don't know.
Because I think the first episode was trying to be a little bit funny, but it wasn't.
There's probably some humor in it, but
Okay.
the overall story of it is basically a Avatar episode.
Okay, fine.
So watch
if I
that.
get around to it.
That's as far as I've gotten. But I have gotten a couple more episodes into Agatha since you kept on talking about it. So
Nice.
They're on the road. That's all I know. They're on the road.
Isn't the song so good?
Yeah, I've only heard
Down the Road.
I've only heard the one version of it. I guess they
Yeah.
keep on like making different versions of it throughout the series.
Yeah, and like episode 3, I think they do like a rock version. No, yeah, they do like a rock version.
4, because I think I saw 3.
Okay.
But yeah, the original version, which is just the acapella harmonizing, which they kept on saying that they did a bad job at. They're bad harmonizing. That's what I think somewhere they referred to themselves. The coven. They referred to themselves as bad harmonizing witches. But that was quite an amazing. I'd like to see. I see a lot of production stuff, behind the scenes stuff on the Marvel website.
Yeah.
As far as like costume design and stuff like that. I'd like.
And
to
they
see
performed it live at D23.
Yeah, I'd like
which
to
was
see the
really
behind the
cool.
scenes on that, on the singing part. Good stuff. All right, I'm gonna
Pass the
hit it.
mic.
I'm gonna pass the mic and probably interrupt you at some point. Who's next?
I'll go because mine's easy. I don't think I did anything out of the ordinary. Been playing League. I don't know. I
You
don't
watch
really
some.
know.
You watch some world stuff.
Oh, yeah. NA, North America, actually took a Korean team to game 5, which is
Nice.
crazy. It's a best of 5. And they played Silver Scrapes, which you guys don't understand, but it's a song that they only play like during the commercial break or the ad break or whatever before like a game 5. So that was cool. I am pretty sure this was the first game 5 of the year, but maybe a couple days ago, the first match that I watched, maybe they did it, but I don't remember. So unfortunately, the North American team lost, but that's okay because they played really well and they picked champions that were kind of like off meta. So it was really cool to see them play things that were different and not just the same like 5 champions every single game, like every other Worlds game is like. But yeah, rip NA, but I'm rooting for Korea.
Cool.
I think that's it.
All right. How about you, Danny?
Well, I saw a movie in theaters, Smile 2.
Ooh,
Yeah.
spooky.
It was weird and disturbing, but really cool. Not what I thought it was gonna be because I didn't watch any of the trailers.
Did you see the first one?
Yeah, I've seen it 3
Okay.
times.
Oh, is it good?
No, I saw it when it came out, and then I saw it. Oh, I mean, yeah, it is. I think it's really good.
Is it good? No, I've just seen it 3 times.
Did you ever see it?
No, but I remember it's only a couple years old, right?
Yeah, I saw it in theaters like 2 years ago, maybe. I saw it over the summer, and then I watched it to prepare for this movie.
Nice.
I think the first one is better plot-wise, but the second one is definitely a lot more disturbing and scarier.
Epic.
So I'd recommend. It's like entertainment. It's fun. And then, so I saw Smile 2. And other than that, really, I had an art market. So I
Oh, yeah.
got to sell some stuff. And then I did some art trades with my fellow classmates and got some cool prints.
Nice.
So yeah.
I also, we went and visited you there.
Yeah,
So
you did.
I bought some stuff. You know, I can't go to an art market or like a convention or something and not buy something because addiction. I don't know, but one thing I really liked.
Supporting.
Yeah, one thing I really liked was multiple vendors. Is that what you'd call yourself there?
Yeah.
Did you call yourself a vendor?
Yeah.
Okay. The multiple vendors had landscape orientation art, which if you've ever been to a convention, is rare. I don't know what it is about portrait style because so many people draw characters, I guess.
Yeah.
And characters just look better portrait style. But I need some variation in my gallery wall. So I did pick up 2 pieces of art. One of them was actually somebody I had already bought something from at our Fredericksburg Comic Con that we went to over the summer. And the other person drew Jinx. And it was a really pretty like skyline of the city with from Arcane. And Jinx was there. And so of course I had to get it because I don't have any Jinx art. It's crazy. Why don't I have Jinx art?
In your gallery?
In anything. I have figures. She stays on my desk, but I don't have any art.
Yeah. I got a print from the same person, and I got an Omen from Valorant. It's really cool. But yeah.
Cool. Support your artists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go to school with a lot of talented people, so.
And if you go
So
to
do they.
school and you're not like in the art circle, keep an eye out on stuff like that because you could find some really good gems. Like there were so many people that like had really cute and really affordable stickers.
Mhm.
And I just like did not want to pull out Venmo a billion times. So I didn't get any stickers, but it's really cool.
Yeah.
And they did a good job with their booths too.
Yeah, and they decorated everything for Halloween. It was awesome.
For being living in dorms for the most part. You don't exactly have like disposable stuff at your
Right.
at your convenience, and they put together some pretty good looking booths.
Yeah. What'd you have? Was it just like a blanket? Oh, I see it. It's on your bed right there. Blanket
I
covering
had
your
some
table.
cubes this time,
You did.
but the market, we have it every semester. And last semester I had a full table. This semester we all had
Oh.
to have to share a table.
Was it cheaper
I didn't have to pay
to have
anything.
Well, you don't have to pay anything?
No.
It was
Never mind,
half
I
the
thought-
price of the last one.
I thought Mom asked you if you had to pay for anything, and I didn't pay attention to the answer. I just figured yes.
Nope.
Cool. That's awesome.
Part of my major.
Nice.
Do they only let like art students do
Yeah,
it?
only my major.
Gotcha. Oh, interesting.
Yep.
Cool. Well, any more geeky weeks before we get into the festivities?
I did the interrupting this time.
Nice.
What's new?
Let's
This
get
time.
into Midsommar. Speaking of freaky movies.
Yeah,
disturbing movies.
So I just want to. I said this probably the last 2 weeks because Monster House is a PG movie. This is not a PG movie. This is rated R. So children do not watch this without parents' consent. And it's freaky. But I did want to say why I picked this movie. I wanted to pick one that was like a modern kind of horror movie, like within the last couple of years. And I really like psychological horror. I find that a lot cooler than like the stabbies and the, stuff like that. And I kind of knew nothing about this except that it got really, really good reviews when it came out. Or at least like people I knew like loved this movie. And I'd never seen it. So I wanted to watch it. And very interesting movie. I'm just going to say I'm glad we all watched it separately and not together because that would have been weird. So anyways, here's the description of the movie. A couple travels to Northern Europe to visit a rural hometown's fabled Swedish midsummer festival. What begins as an idyllic retreat quickly devolves into an increasingly violent and bizarre competition at the hands of a pagan cult. Fun concept. We love pagan cults. We love Sweden.
What defines a pagan cult?
A cult that worships not God.
It just means not God?
I think it either means not God or multiple gods, multiple like deities.
Okay.
Because I think like Greek mythology is technically pagan religion.
Okay. So
yeah.
Pagan doesn't necessarily mean satanic.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Then I'll agree with that statement then.
Because they worship like Horga, I think is one of the things that they mention worshiping. We've got a really good cast in this movie. We've got Florence Pugh, known for everything.
A lot of disturbing roles.
She's in a new rom-com with I think it's a comedy. It might just be like drama
Garfield.
with Andrew Garfield. And it's funny, I saw in an interview, she's only used her real accent like twice in movies.
What's her real accent?
She's British.
Oh.
I know she's like in Little Women, where she's like English or American. She's in, Black Widow, where she's like Russian. So phenomenal actress. She was awesome in here. She plays Danny. How'd you like? How'd
Nope.
you like being in this movie, Danny?
Nope.
Then we have Jack Rayner as her boyfriend. He plays Christian. He looks kind of familiar to me. He didn't seem like a huge actor when I looked him up, but he did good in this.
Yeah.
I kept getting Star-Lord vibes from him.
Yeah, I was getting like maybe like not Chris Captain America. I was getting
Chris Evans?
No, I wasn't getting Chris. He was kind of like a mix of all the Chris's. I think
That's why they named him Christian.
Maybe. Then we have Wilhelm Blomgren. Sorry if I mispronounced that. He's the main Swedish guy, the guy who gets them all there. Then we have William Jackson Harper, who is famous from The Good Place, playing Chidi, and he did great.
Oh, that's what he's playing.
Yeah.
And then we have Will Poulter, who is from Narnia and The Maze Runner. So really good cast, and those are the main characters. There were a lot of like extras and everybody in the Swedish town who were just all so good. So don't know where they found those people, but they were selling the crazy, like, simple life turned into crazy life very well.
So let me pause you for a second.
Okay, good, because I was done talking.
All right, so we just had a technical difficulty. So if the editing right now sounds horrible, that's because we just cut back in. But what I was about to say, I was about to interrupt Amber. And now that the moment has passed, it's not going to be as dramatic. But I was
it's funny because you said, "Oh, we're doing a podcast here," and then you left, and I said, "Are we? Are we doing a podcast?"
Yeah, I heard all that.
It's in the recording.
So I was going to give you some flack about the fact that we have a podcast that features comic books and whatnot. And when you listed out what Will Poulter is known for, you didn't put Adam Warlock in the list.
I forgot about that, honestly, because he was just really funny.
But yeah, so that gets us back into real time now. Hopefully the bad edits are over. Hopefully no more technical difficulties. So where were we?
I had explained the cast and the concept.
All right. Did you read that this movie, when it was released in Sweden, that the audience laughed?
Really?
And they found it a excellent black comedy, not a horror movie.
Oh.
Wow.
That's interesting.
They were also quick to say that none of the traditions that they listed in that movie were representative of their own.
Sure.
Oh my gosh.
That's what they all said.
That's good that they took it that way, with a sense of humor and not like finding it insulting.
Right. That's all we can do with horror movies is just laugh at them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ari Aster is the writer and director of this.
Yes.
And he said he was influenced by The Wicker Man. Have either of you seen The Wicker Man?
I've not, no.
So there was an old movie, I don't know, 70s, late 60s, early 70s. And then it was, I guess, redid in probably the 90s. But it did remind me a lot. Now, the one that I watched in the 90s, I think it was set on an island in like the Northern Pacific. So off the coast of Seattle or something, one of the Washington Barrier Islands. But the real one was European.
Got it.
The original was European. So yes, I could definitely see ties between these two movies.
One thing I really liked about this movie is, well, I'm probably going to have to watch it again, because I feel like there were some things in the movie that you're looking at it and it's like, oh, that's going to mean something later. But I want to rewatch it and see if there's anything that I missed that like came to later, because I was seeing like pictures in the wall of like them burning a bear, and then the tapestry with the love potion, essentially. Exactly. And so stuff like that was really cool. And those were things that I caught. I'm like, this is going to be important later. But I'm sure there's so much more that I missed.
Right. Now, are we going to attempt to do this episode without spoiling anything, correct?
I think we should.
Yeah.
Well, I might have
for a couple
spoiled something
different reasons.
already. Yeah.
For the sheer fact that it deserves to be watched without knowing what
Yes.
we now know. And also, there's a lot of stuff we wouldn't be able to talk about on a family-friendly podcast.
Exactly.
But it did have kind of a, well, I don't want to call it a slow start because it's got a pretty dramatic open, but then it has a build up, a slow start, and
we call those slow burns.
A slow burn.
Yeah.
Something I found interesting is again, Ari asked her when he was asked about the movie. He said it's just a typical breakup movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
I read that.
So I
can see that.
I like that. I like going into it thinking this is a breakup movie, and then watching the whole thing unfold. Now, I would say if it's a breakup movie, then the part of Christian has a lot to do with the faults involved. He was not portrayed as a very good boyfriend, I guess.
No.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. I went on Reddit, and so the main thing with them is they're kind of a toxic couple, and I feel like that's something we can say, and it's like you find that out in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, that's presented pretty early.
And so there's this Reddit thread of people like, oh, but she was the one gaslighting him the entire time. And then everybody else is like, did you even watch the movie? Did you miss the whole point of the movie? It's like, get these stupid Reddit boys off of my Reddit.
Yeah, it was a little uncomfortable at some points how, I don't know, ignorant he was to some of the things.
Especially when you later find out. You don't find this out until like more than halfway through the movie, I don't think. When they're dating for like 4 years is how long they've been dating. And it's really? Excuse me?
Mm-hmm.
So
now let's go back to Will Poulter.
Okay.
Who played Mark.
Yes.
Tell me what you think about this. As I'm watching the movie, I almost had to check myself to see if he's actually in the movie or not, or if his whole character was an afterthought. Because it seems like a lot of his like one-liners are spoken off camera. Now I know he was in the movie, obviously, but
right? But how much of him was actually in the movie?
Yeah, there may have been some punch-ups. There may have been some punch-ups. After everything was recorded, he went back in to re-record
something. Yeah.
Or there was some improvising going on that the cameraman didn't know about. Most of his best lines were off camera,
and he had some good ones. Yeah. He's the typical like I don't want to say playboy because he's not really a playboy, but like
he's the fool.
Yeah.
They call him the fool.
Oh, I was wondering. I saw. Okay, that makes sense. That tracks. You'll have to watch it to find out what we mean.
And apparently, early on in I don't know if it shows his apartment at some point, if they're over at his apartment, but I guess there's a picture of a scarecrow on his wall.
Mm-hmm. Man, wow. You're cheating. You're looking at the IMDb hints and stuff, aren't you? Or did you actually catch that?
No, it wasn't IMDb, but I did.
Oh.
I did research his
everything you missed in Midsommar
to see what other people's take on him was. If it was just me, or if other people saw him, and a lot of people said, "Oh yeah, he's my favorite character."
I honestly felt really bad for the guy. He just wanted to have a good time in Europe. He just wanted to be with pretty girls.
He just needed to pee.
Some of the early.
He doesn't speak Swedish.
Some of the early stuff that he does, like when they first get to the property, and he's kind of like hopping around
Yeah.
the tall grass because he doesn't want to walk through the tall grass because of ticks because of his uncle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was just brilliant. And again, nobody knows if he was improvising that or if that was
Right. That
part of his
was
character.
really funny because then they reference that later. He's
Right.
like, "Oh, I hate bugs," and then they reference the ticks later.
Yeah. So good job with him.
Yeah.
William Jackson Harper played an interesting character.
Yeah, he was the academic basically, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Did anything you look at give him a name like how the other
No.
guy was the fool? Oh.
No, I didn't look him up specifically,
Okay.
but I thought it was neat how he kind of just blends into the story at the beginning. You know,
Mhm.
he's going there to do his thesis or whatever. But then as the events start happening, you realize, oh, this guy's kind of cold-blooded.
Yeah. And he's
Like
like kind of like forwarding the story a little bit too.
yeah. So that was kind of neat how his like he wasn't the outspoken one at the beginning of the movie, but then
Mhm.
he plays a big part driving that story forward.
Yeah, definitely. Now we haven't mentioned the British couple who is also there.
Yeah.
They're more minor characters. They're only in it for a little bit. But I thought they were really interesting. Like one thing that I have to comment on this movie is like the cinematography. Like every single shot was like
Yeah.
really cool. And there's like a scene where the main girl Danny is like watching the British girls like conversation. She's just like standing in the back of the building and she's at the front of the building. And that whole scene was like really cool. And I'm like,
Yeah.
dang, I feel bad for this British girl. That's crazy.
Now
They're doing her dirty.
that brings up the question of there was a lot of the, I guess, what do we call them, locals? A lot of the locals had brought in outsiders for this festival.
Yeah.
I think it was just those two this year. Or those like two
Okay.
people had brought in the locals.
When they
Or-
first get there and everybody's dropping the mushrooms, it looked like there was a lot of groups, but maybe those were all just locals. It looked like there
I
was a
don't
lot
know.
of outsiders, but it only focused on the two groups of
Yeah.
outsiders. And then later it was announced that there was only two groups of outsiders. It seemed like more at the beginning, but that could have been me. Now I like if I knew more about movies and movie making and stuff, there's probably a term for this, but I like how the movie kind of drags along and then it shocks you.
Mhm.
And then you would think, okay, well this is going to be a deal breaker for the events that are happening. But no, then there's an explanation for what just happened, and then everybody who is shocked is like, oh, okay, all right, okay, we'll just settle down. And then it happens again, something else happens,
Yeah.
and then it's explained, oh no, this is just normal. Oh, okay, all right. And then it
Yeah.
happens again and, until it's like unignorable.
Right.
And I think that's a great technique that kind of makes you uneasy. And even when it settles down the characters, you're still like, that's not cool. Something is
Yeah.
not right.
One thing that maybe I just didn't understand, maybe I'll have to look into it more, was the purpose of Danny's family in this movie. Because she has this obviously other story that happens in her past and present, I guess. And it's just like, how is this just to show that she has trauma and she's like maybe not, is it to play into the boyfriend storyline where he's not the most supportive? Like, I don't know. I was finding a hard way to find why that was like a big deal for her character.
Yeah, like a connection between, like I was looking for a connection between the events.
I was like, oh, was her like sister in the cult, because like her sister's like the big deal. But no, her sister was not in the cult.
Yeah, you kind of wonder, is what she's experiencing in Sweden gonna make her understand more what happened at home.
Because at the end there are some like flashes of like connections to that. But I just don't know how well it connected or what the purpose was.
I think it also just goes into like she has nothing really to go back to, so she gets more like
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
she gets more
Thank
like
you, Danny.
like dissolved into like the whole cult thing.
Yeah.
And her boyfriend's being horrible, so she's like, well, I guess I'll stay here where they like worship me. Plus, like, I forget his name.
Pele.
Pele.
Pele was like
Pele, yeah.
just like comforting her and like really getting her to stay.
Let me slide in on your girl, dude.
Knew her birthday.
I don't think we need to defend Christian on Pele moving in on his girl.
No.
He had wandering eyes of his own.
There was a love potion involved. and a barn.
A love shack.
That scene made me the most uncomfortable of probably any movie I've ever watched.
I was watching it in public too. I had to like turn my brightness down. Put it away.
Oh my gosh, Danny.
Let me just admire the, I don't know if I'm going to use this word right, but juxtaposition. It's probably not that, but that scene, cutting between that scene and
the
Christian scene, right?
What scene in Christian's scene?
I'm sorry.
Christian's scene and Danny's scene?
That scene and Danny's scene.
Yes, all the
going
screaming.
On back and forth and back and forth.
Yes.
That was brilliant.
That was really cool.
But yeah, so are you going to watch the Netflix cartoon version of this that's coming out next year?
Wait, are you serious?
No.
Oh.
If I could record both of your looks on your faces, this should be a video podcast.
This should be. We could go TikTok viral. I wouldn't put it past Netflix because they're doing so many, like, they're doing Lord of the Rings, they're doing Tomb Raider, they're doing, well, Midsommar's on a different level of that, but yeah. I knew I was going to like this movie when I saw that it was produced by A24 or really published by A24.
Yeah.
I have liked everything by them that I have seen. I've really enjoyed.
Now, this is the kind of movie that they could make a second one that could either be a prequel and just show like the last Midsommar festivity.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of build up some of the characters that we see in this one and see how they might have gotten to where they were.
Yeah.
I think that would be a really neat thing.
One thing that I caught was at the beginning of when the festivities begin, the lady who's like announcing everything, she says this happens every 90 years.
Yeah.
This like feast, this 9-day feast. But they have a May Queen every year. So do they only do the really weird stuff every 90 years?
The really weird stuff.
And then Pele, I don't know if this is spoiling or not, but he said his parents died in a fire. So
yeah.
Did they die
in a previous...
But that would have been 90 years ago.
Yeah. So maybe... Can I look this up right now?
Did you find anything?
Not anything conclusive.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not
People
sure.
People are saying because like they kind of view time and age and years kind of a little bit differently. Maybe that has something to do with it.
Maybe.
Because I really liked it. I thought it was really cool. The way that they viewed like seasons compared to someone's life. Yeah, like your spring from these ages and fall from these ages. And it really reminded me of just like other cultures and stuff that I've like studied in school. So it was cool to see that. And
Yeah,
Maybe
like
not so cool to see how they
I
deal
like about
with the end
3/4
of
of that.
those years.
Right. I'm good with the first 3/4 of it.
But then again, Christian did make a good point. He did say we put our elders in in hospitals and stuff, so they would probably find that disgusting or
True.
disturbing. So I guess it's all a matter of perspective. And
And traditions.
yeah,
And who are we to judge?
who are we to judge?
Who are we to judge a bunch of fake Swedish traditions?
But do we know it's actually fake? Because they do be studying it and trying to announce it and stuff in the movie, and then they get got.
Yep.
They get got.
I
True
think one thing that's really cool or crazy is like when you think of like a horror movie, like Friday the 13th or what do we watch?
Halloween.
Like it's a very like it's in the nighttime, it's dark. And this whole movie
Yeah.
is in bright, broad daylight.
Yeah. I want to see
Gives-
what they do on their winter solstice.
Makes it a little uneasy.
Yeah, then that was another one of Mark's best freakouts. Was when he realized that it doesn't get dark out and he started freaking out.
Oh, yeah. When he was high.
Yeah. So the overall moral of the story is stay away from mushrooms.
No.
Especially if you're in Sweden.
The moral of the story is
Pay attention to your partner.
if you show up to a village and everyone's wearing the exact same thing and offer you a mushroom, let's maybe not take it and leave.
What about
but that
when
might be
run?
harder than you think when people do try to leave and they get got.
Just don't go.
I will say, gosh, the costuming, especially at the end, whew, pretty cool. Like all of
Unfortunately,
the individuals who were part of that ritual looked crazy in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, unfortunately, the costumes, the dresses that a lot of them wore were not Swedish. They were, I forget what it was. Was it Turkish? I think it was Turkish.
Oh. Well, when you're that far, maybe they originally came from Turkey or something. And
there was an actual term for that type of dress. It was like the slurkin flurkin or something.
Nice.
well, that sounds pretty Swedish to me.
Yeah, sounds like something you would buy at IKEA.
Yeah.
Do you have a slurkin clorkin and 3X, please?
All I'll say is catch me getting some sunflowers and putting them over top my eyes because that looked crazy cool.
Crazy cool.
Nah.
I thought that looked cool.
All right, so we're gonna drop this one off here so we don't accidentally spoil too much.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, this was a good movie. I don't know if you knew exactly what you were recommending when you suggested it, Amber, but
I had an idea. Did not know the details though.
if you watch the trailer, it's a lot of like what I said, like normal stuff, then shocking stuff, normal stuff, then shocking stuff. You know, beautiful landscapes, then all of a sudden absolute horror. So
Nice.
I think everybody knows they're in for a bumpy ride. It's just the
In for a
details
trip,
of
if
the
you would,
bumps.
if you'll allow me to say, in for a trip.
Ba-dum-bum. All right, so I think that's going to wrap this one up. That was a great family spookery. We've got
Yes.
one more left in this month.
Yes.
And what did we decide on for the final family spookery episode?
Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus. We're gonna
end it out with a family movie.
keep the same theme
Yeah.
of psychological thrillers and extreme gore and grotesqueness, and watch Hocus Pocus together. That should be a good family friendly movie.
Yeah.
One that none of us have seen.
Right.
Probably
Yeah.
considered one of the all-time favorite Halloween time Disney movies, and none of us has seen it. Interesting.
I like that 3 of the 5 of the movies that we've watched this month, none of us have seen.
Yeah.
I think the only
Good
one
stuff.
I saw was Monster House.
Yeah, and I hadn't seen Halloween either. So
Good stuff.
yeah,
That's what we're all about.
trying new things.
Together.
Yeah, you want to go to Sweden?
Nope.
Let's do it. I will say that I've had a lot of mushroom soup at Chinese restaurants. Not quite the same experience.
Also, plot hole. Pele's like, oh, we're not going to be near Stockholm. We're going to be going the opposite way. And then they like fly in. It's like, no, now descending in Stockholm. Because they wanted to go to the clubs, I guess. And I'm like,
okay.
He's
I
probably
thought
lying.
he said it was the opposite direction.
He's probably lying.
Yep.
Maybe they just needed to get there quick.
Cool.
Cool.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for this one.
Yep.
If you've seen Midsommar, send us an email or catch us on our socials and let us know what you thought of it. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. What was it on? HBO Max.
Yes. Remember, it's rated R, so do with that as you will.
Yes. Heed the warnings. But
Believe us. Heed the warnings.
look forward to another episode next week with far less warnings.
And then we're done with Halloween.
Boo.
Then we're going to have to figure something out for November.
Back to our regularly scheduled programs, please.
All right.
I need to just read a comic book. Only takes 20 minutes.
All right. So go check out the socials, check out the YouTube channel, see what's going on there. We thank you as always for listening. And until next time.
Peace
Peace out.
Peace out
and
geek out.
Thank you for listening to the Family Geekery podcast. For more information, visit www.familygeekery.com. Don't forget to subscribe at your favorite podcast provider. And until next time, peace out and geek out.